heat. Heat is used for so many things. And I've been thinking about the magic solution for it. It is the magic solution. Better than firewood, better than electricity, better than any other thing I know. I have one. I've been using it for years. Now you have to think about it. And I'll tell you what it is in a second. I was thinking about all the things that I can't do because I don't have any extra heat. And I'm not willing to use electricity for heating or cooling. So no electricity for air conditioning. I don't need it here. If my architecture is at all correct, I certainly don't need it. So, but I saw the thing that made this occur to me once again was a yogurt maker. And it keeps the heat at a very particular temperature for a certain amount of time. And there's other things like that too, like, if you want to cook with a crock pot, where you want to have just food in a big thing, and I'm imagining bigger because I always think too big. And so it keeps this food just kind of warm at a certain level. Now there's food poisoning issues there, where, with crock pot cooking, you might want to think about that. I don't know how that all shakes out. Maybe you could even have something on a timer where it heats it up a whole bunch and boils it, and then it goes back to just regular serving temperature. And I think about the solar chicken brooder that I want to make, and how that could just heat up one spot of a floor in a big building or a long building, and then the little chicks, right? They like it to be like 98 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a bunch Celsius, too hot, and then it would heat up part of it, and then they would be their own thermostat and go back and forth between the two. Although that's wasted heat. And this magic heat source I'm going to mention, that could have valves. Now this gets more complex, and I don't like complexity. So I'm already disagreeing with what I'm saying, but it could have temperature sensitive valves where it heated up a thermal mass for, let's say, for the yogurt, right? The yogurt needs to be a certain temperature for the microorganisms in there that are making that milk into yogurt. And it could turn itself on and off according to what was exactly correct. This is also true for egg incubators, which also want to be at a very particular temperature, like 99 degrees Fahrenheit or whatever it is. And so there's all these, and of course heating of houses, that's an obvious one where you could just even use this system to have the floor heated too much, and then just have windows you open, or even automatic venting of stuff, and you could heat it up a little too hot during the day if it was going to get colder at night. All of this depends on your exact climate, of course. But let's get to it. Let's tell you what the magic object is. It is the evacuated tube solar hot water heater. I'll tell you what that is in case you don't know what it is. It's a big silver thermos, usually silver, it could be black, whatever, but they're always silver around here, colored. They're big thermos, right? Like 3-4 feet long. Bunch of tubes coming down from it that are black looking. What they actually are is black tubes with a glass tube outside around it, and in between the two there's a vacuum. Zero energy, zero heat energy can pass through a vacuum. So anytime there's any sun, even if it's cloudy out, there's all that radiation hitting those black tubes, heating up that water, just like it would a black hose on the ground or a hot sidewalk, So it's heating it up like crazy, and none of that heat can get out. So that hot water goes up, naturally, because heat rises, up into the thermos thing, and the coldest water in the thermos keeps going down all day. No pumps, because pumps break. Moving parts are bad. And so, God, who the hell am I even talking to? Sorry, I talk like a weirdo. It's just, I am a weirdo, so. Anyway, so on the thermos, at the top of the thermos, that water, there's a tube where water comes out of it, and at the bottom of it, water can be delivered in. So it always fills it up. Yeah, it always fills it up. And you have a water source that's cold above it, so it always keeps that thermos full. That thermos should never get empty. And you definitely wouldn't want your tubes to ever get empty, because then if you suddenly filled your hot tubes that were sitting in the sun with cold water, it might crack the tube. But that's never going to happen. It only happens on installation, because you can't get water out of those tubes, right? It's always going to be in those tubes. There's nothing pumping the water out. It's all gravity fed. So the water delivered out of this thing goes somewhere. Well, the obvious use for it is to have hot water to take a shower with or something. But you should never use showers. You should use saunas. So this magic object, let's get creative and think of every single way we could use it. I'll leave that up to you, but I imagine it for heating everything we want to. Like I have a wood-fired sauna right now. That should be getting heated all day, every day, by even a dedicated, it didn't have to be dedicated. That's the thing is, the thing I'm thinking now is there could be switching between the two. And that doesn't have to be electric switching with sensors, temperature monitors, and all that. Well, that's kind of what you'd want for something like a yogurt machine or an incubator. Although I don't need it for the brooder. And brooding is the hardest part of raising chickens. Brooding the chickens. I got to think a lot on this. And I want to build it into systems. And if you had even a room, there was like an egg incubator, right? And it was all being kept at a high temperature. It might be like a large closet where you just had hundreds of eggs. It might be the right temperature for yogurt as well. And there could be other things like that. So I really want to think about all the things I could use heat for and figure out how this amazing technology that is really simple doesn't tend to break. As long as those tubes don't break. I mean, we're looking at, like, I've had mine for, I don't know. See, I've been here 20 years. I've had it for probably 18 years or so. I've been using this solar hot water heater. And as long as nothing breaks those tubes, and it never freezes or anything here, and there's nobody playing baseball near it, then, and, you know, no branches are going to fall on it. It's, well, actually a branch could fall on it. But the point is, it works just all the time perfectly. It is the magic heating solution. And they're not that expensive. They're not rocket science to build them. You could eventually lose your vacuum on some of the tubes. Those are replaceable. But you know what? It would still work without the vacuum, just way less efficiently. Somewhat less efficiently. I don't know how much less efficiently. And so I have plans for how to do some experiments with this. And I need to buy some of the smallest size solar hot water evacuated tube solar hot water heaters that I can. So I can do small sized experiments. But I've got shit I can build right now where I already know I want to warm a place up too hot in any case. And like, you know, a chicken brooder would be like number one on the list. And the sauna. The sauna is really critical because I have to keep people clean with less water. And I could still have a cold water shower available. You know, I have a handheld one right now. And they could just use to wash off or rinse off with and get all their dead skin off of them. Somebody could help scrub them down. Get super clean. And the point behind that is it would save water. I've already gotten rid of toilets completely. Any water waste. I just have composting toilets. They work fantastic. So these kind of solutions are the solutions we need to figure out. And I'm just realizing that I haven't really thought enough about the evacuated tube solar hot water heater. You can help out by thinking of everything you could possibly ever need to use heat for and how this could potentially be part of that system. Of course, for tiny little systems, just go with some solar power or something. But wasting tons of electricity on heating is a dumb idea, in my opinion. So please do contribute your thoughts. Arr, 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 arr.